start on this. All right. Hello, everyone. We're about to launch our new, well, it's going to be a website, Facebook page, YouTube channel, you name it, called the Idiot Circle. I'm Mike.
I'm Fred.
I'm Rob.
And we're three friends from Marine City, Michigan. We're here to talk about the things that interest us, you know, movies, sports, TV, whatever might come, you know, current events. Rob just watched a movie today. He was telling us how sad he was. So hopefully we'll get some tears on camera. That'll be good for the channel. But people might be wondering what the Idiot Circle is. There you go. He's got his mask and he's like, nice, perfect. People might be wondering what the Idiot Circle is. Now we're quite familiar with the Idiot Circle, and some of the younger generation, even from our hometown of Marine City, Michigan, might have no idea what the Idiot Circle. So I'm going to turn it over to Fred. He's going to give us an explanation of what the Idiot Circle is, or was, I should say.
Thanks, Mike. What the Idiot Circle is there's a route between Marine City that went downtown South Water Street down to the Holy Cross Church, where most people did a U-turn and came back, and they would take another back street, and they would just continue going back and forth. They would stop and talk to people. They would swerve at each other. You know, it's kind of like where everybody met, to prepare to find out where a party was. Funny thing was, as I went online and I put up the Idiot Circle, and quite frankly, there's a lot of idiot circles around the country.
A lot of idiots.
Yeah, right, too. So what it was a way for us when we got out of school for the weekend, where we could meet our friends, to find out where the parties were. Just to reminisce and see what went on during the week. So it was a way to get away, from the house and have somewhere to go and, meet different people and catch up when we didn't get a chance to talk during the week. What about you, Rob? What do you think?
Well, usually the parties were at Rob's favorite place, his favorite place in the world. That's where everybody met on the Friday night. So
that's right. It was either either putty gut or in the cemetery.
I think we really got to dive into really what happened around Marine City for so many years and why it came about. The Idiot Circle was way before our generation, but then I think it changed and morphed in the city as the city became more progressive. But in our day, there wasn't a lot of opportunity to stay around Marine City. There wasn't a lot to do for kids our age. And, it was like cruising that circle. It was like you got in your cars and you cruised that circle Friday night, find your friends, like Fred said, and then you would go and find an ancillary party that was happening off of cruising the Idiot Circle. Could be putty gut, could be somebody's house, but I don't know. And I think it was the older generation that coined like the younger generation that did it, the Idiot Circle. That's kind of what it was. I mean, people are going to tune in and say, the Idiot Circle, what is this? A show about politics or, whatever, but it's really just us friends getting together.
Well, it shows what idiots we are, because it's three people and you can't make a circle out of three people.
Right.
But we can't call it the Idiot Triangle because that sounds dumb. So.
Right. Yeah. The people that
we're looking for a fourth out there. Anyone?
Right.
Anyone.
That'd be the square. I think we maybe
Joe
need
Biden,
5.
Oh God.
I think we might need at least 5 for a circle, but I don't know. I could be just spitballing here.
It's funny that
4 is a square.
Yeah.
Right.
The Idiot Square.
Yeah. The funny part is the person who actually, the people that actually coined the phrase the Idiot Circle was the older, elderly people that lived in the downtown area of Marine City. People who lived down on Catholic Point and right on the edge of Broadway and South Water, which quite frankly was a lot of my relatives. But that's where a lot of that name started. But that's it's fond memories. There's a lot of cool things I still remember doing back in high school. And it's something, those things I'll never forget, because there was really a lot of cool times.
Yeah. So, we were talking about some of the things when we were talking about doing this, some of the topics we'd be interested in. So the format for us is just to kind of throw out topics to talk about, like not unlike what people do at the bar. They sit there on Friday nights or Saturday afternoons, or if you're really into drinking, maybe it's a Sunday afternoon. I don't know, but
Right.
yeah, cheers. But
Fred,
anyway,
where's your Bush latte? You got a Bush latte over there somewhere?
Fred's probably got one for sure. Oh, he had water. Wow,
Yeah.
good boy, Fred. He's
Yep.
he's taking it seriously today.
Right.
We'll see about future
Right.
episodes, but he's taking it seriously today.
Right.
I love you guys. I really love you guys.
Yeah, Fred's at his best when he's had about 12 beers anyway.
Yeah, then I'll think I see a circle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the things we tossed around as a topic was the transfer portal, the college football transfer portal. Now, I remember when it started a few years ago, just for the record, I've been in favor from the beginning, and I've had to fight these two guys, Fred and Rob, about the transfer portal and why I liked it. My biggest thing with the transfer portal is I just get irritated when coaches leave in the middle of the night, a la Brian Kelly going to LSU.
Lane
Rob is
Kiffin.
shake his head at that one. Rob is the only Notre Dame fan on this
On the
episode,
panel.
on the panel, on the
On the
dais. So, Fred and I are Michigan fans now, or Michigan fans. Now, Rob used to be a huge Michigan fan. We won't talk about him going to the dark side, but anyway, we did talk about the transfer portal. One of the things that I think, the coaches can leave whenever they want. They do have contracts, but do those contracts mean anything anymore? I mean, you sign a contract for 6 years, 10 years, 8 years, but I don't know how people get out of contracts. I guess my definition of contract doesn't apply anywhere, but so we talked. I've always been in favor of it, the transfer portal, because coaches can leave whenever they want, and they recruit these players to come to their school, and they build a relationship with them, and then they leave, and the players are stuck there, and new coaches come in, new systems, all that stuff. So I think if a player wants to play, he should be able to go whenever he wants to, and finally they can do that without written permission and excuses,
loss of a year
and all that stuff. But I know you guys have some thoughts and some feelings about that. We've touched on it before. So who wants to start with what's your input on it, Fred? Are you in favor of the transfer portal or not really?
Well, I can say that there's some pros and cons to the transfer portal. Number one,
you're right, Mike. I like him when he's drunk better on these topics.
He's too serious.
Well, let's just say this. There's some pros and cons. The pros is, I understand that there's a lot of kids out there that, are basically conned into coming to school. So you can, hey, you're the only quarterback we're looking for, wide receiver, offensive lineman, whatever. And then they get there and there's 20 of them. I get that. And the thing is I think what it has done is it's kind of leveled some of the playing fields to some of the conferences. But the thing that bothers me the most is the fact it's not so much they leave and they, the thing that bothers me is for schools, i.e. Eastern, Western, Central. There's already rumblings.
The Power Five in Michigan.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So
Ferris State.
Well, let's just say we'll use Lou Nichols, the outstanding running back from Central Michigan. There's already rumblings that he's going to enter the transfer portal. And the thing is most of these kids, a huge percentage of these kids end up going to an SEC school. And the thing is I understand that, you get a lot of these kids are from the SEC and they're entering the transfer portal. Well, the thing is they're either going to Georgia or they're going to the Big 12. And not a lot of people are coming to the Big 10 because of the fact that, the weather. I think the Big 10 doesn't get the notoriety as the other two, because they get, like, for instance, why is Michigan and Ohio State one of the biggest games of the year? Why is it played at noon and not in prime time? Why is Michigan, Penn State, or Michigan State and Ohio State, or Notre Dame and Michigan? Why isn't that, why is that not played at night? Where everybody has to, everybody watches it. So I think the thing is I like the fact that they do have that opportunity to be able to transfer, especially if they want to, want to play. But I think it really hurts the smaller schools who have, kids that have success, and then they leave the school, and then that puts that school in a bad spot.
Well, I think the bigger schools are always going to get the better players. I mean, it's pretty rare that you get a 5-star recruit going to Jacksonville State or Jackson State, but it happened this year, right? So,
Mhm.
I think it does level the playing field, and I feel bad for a guy that's, let's talk about Alabama. How can you feel bad for a guy going to Alabama? Well, I do. If you have you're a 5-star quarterback going in with another 5-star quarterback that's already there. You sit on the bench for 3 years waiting for him to get hurt or waiting for your opportunity, or yeah, you have to compete. What happen? I don't want to sit there. If I was a college player, I wouldn't want to sit there for 3 years when I could be playing somewhere. That's the
let me
biggest thing.
offer you this perspective. When we were young and we started watching college football, and let's face it, I mean, we were really lucky because we grew up in the age of, the dominance of 2 big teams in the Big Ten. But how was that created? Because then there was no Proposition 48. What happened was Ohio State would recruit kids they had no business and no even thought of ever playing, just so that the Purdue's, the Minnesotas, the Michigan States couldn't get them. That's why we build those traditional powers: Oklahoma, USC, Michigan, Alabama. How those were created. Proposition 8 changed that, so it spread the wealth, and we kind of lived under that regime, which then brought in teams like other traditional powers that weren't there before: Oregon, Oklahoma State's, Michigan State to some level, and so that was great. But now with this portal, it has really changed the complexity of this game, because it's really spread the wealth. Really, you have to be committed to an athlete, a student athlete, for him to play, and if you're not, he's going to walk. And I disagree with Fred. It doesn't send everybody to the SEC. There's only 12, 14 teams in the SEC. They can only have so many scholarship athletes. So when those are filled up, those kids are going to go to other places.
I mean, I think the guy that before the transfer portal was official, the guy that kind of started it was Justin Fields, right? Going from Georgia to Ohio State. So, I mean, there are some cases where they go from the SEC to another school, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, going from one SEC team to another SEC team. I mean, what I like about this is, it used to always be, as far as the teams are, the rich get richer and the poor, get nothing, because they get all the recruits. But I honestly think the reason I really like it is because if they go there for a year and they're not going to play, they can go to another school. I mean, you have Eastern Michigan offering, what's his name? Is it Caleb Williams from Oklahoma? Offer him $1 million. Now
Right.
add the NIL on top of that. And now we got a whole, I mean, it's becoming like professional football,
Which I think
honestly.
could really damage the sport of college football. But but when you got people like Tate Martell that leaves, I mean, he bounces from school to school to school, and he still doesn't get a chance to play. I think that kind of really hurts too. But but like Rob said, he disagrees with with me with saying about a lot of those kids going to the SEC. The thing is too is you don't see a lot of those kids going to like the Central Michigans, and I mean you can get kids coming from Ferris or smaller schools, like somebody coming from like Delaware and moving in and coming into Michigan. I mean it helps, like college basketball, it helps too, because Michigan got Duncan Robinson out of somewhere. I get that. I want kids to be able to play too, but again, I think that everybody gets a trophy for participating is one of the things that the transfer portal is kind of like. They're not, and I know it's hard.
Yeah.
I know it's hard for them to sit behind somebody. But like, I mean, if you look at, Mike, JJ McCarthy and Cade McNamara, or let's say Joe Milton and McCaffrey from Michigan. McCaffrey should have started. Okay. But but we all knew, okay, whoever starts, the other one's going to transfer. That's obvious. But the one thing that I did notice, and it hasn't hurt Michigan or hasn't hurt a lot of these teams, the people that are entering the transfer portal, especially the people that have left Michigan and gone somewhere, haven't really done anything that, that you're like, wow, it's too bad he didn't stick around. So in that way, I kind of agree sometimes that is a good move, with the transfer portal.
Yeah,
I think that's why it's designed like that, Fred, because let's face it, what it's not teaching kids is perseverance to stay there and fight through adversity and see if you get your opportunity. But those are outliers that really happens. What it's doing is taking guys like Milton, who probably should have never even been recruited by Michigan in a way, and he fell to probably where he went. What's the kid from Ohio State that bounced around? What's his name? Tate Martell. He, that guy wasn't going to make it anywhere, really.
But why would he
had the skills?
Why would he go to a good team? I mean, if you want to play, why do you go he went from Ohio State to where? To Miami or
Miami? And then he went from Miami to UNLV.
Because I think he in himself and probably the people that were around him, like parents and friends and maybe high school coaches, are saying, hey, you're good enough to play at those places, so don't go to Northern Illinois, go to Miami, where he probably should have went to Northern Illinois.
Right.
Oh, but exactly. Wait a minute, Northern Illinois.
That was an example, Fred. I wasn't.
I know. I was just gonna make a joke. I said, is the fact that you mean he could be challenged by Rocky Lombardi?
Yeah, he'd be competing with Rocky. Nobody can compete with Rocky Lombardi.
With Rocky Lombardi.
Yeah. But the other
thing, I could compete with Rocky Lombardi.
Okay. There's one thing that I would
money's on you, Rob.
Yeah, the one thing I would like to see changed for the transfer portal is the amount of people that can go there. To me, the only reason why Michigan, because the only reason why Michigan State was relevant this year is they had 22 transfer portal guys come over from other schools to bolster that lineup, and most of them played. And the thing is, hey,
but how cool
I don't fault
Mel Tucker.
Thank you, Mel Tucker, for doing that and taking advantage of anything that he can do. Because I know the cupboard was pretty much left dry when D'Antonio left. But the fact is if he doesn't have those people, do they beat Michigan?
Wait. I got a level set. So here I want to stop right here. Okay. See, this is where I think people listen to media too much and say that the cupboard was dry. Maybe there was not a lot of recruits in that pipeline, but believe me, D'Antonio took that position.
Oh, he made that program.
Right. Yeah. When he got there, the cupboards were absolutely dry. There was no culture. There was no football winning.
No discipline.
There's no discipline. But you're right. The cupboards were dry as far as the pipeline of recruiting, but they had changed as an organization, as a college football team after he left there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue the same thing happened when Lloyd Carr retired. That what happened to the recruiting pipeline there? I mean, why is it that?
What is it, Fred? We're only 5-10 minutes in, and the Rich Rod reference has already come up. It didn't take long for you. Those at home, that will be that name. That's a whole. That's stricken from the records.
Yeah, because I could give you.
Sorry, Mike, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I could give you a dissertation. Probably as long as reading War and Peace on that whole subject.
But why is it you go from, like, Lloyd Carr was successful, one of the most successful coaches in Michigan history, right? And then D'Antonio, one of the most successful coaches, if not the most successful coach for Michigan State, and now they leave, and it's like, there's a hole there. It's it's kind of like the ISIS thing. I threw that in there, but anyway.
Just so you know, this is Fred's first novel, why Rich Rod was bad for Michigan. That's exactly his first one. This is one of 3.
And Rob was the only person to buy it.
The only signed copy. He's got a room full of boxes full of this thing. But come on, without Rich Rod, there's no Denard Robinson. You guys know how I love Denard Robinson.
Right. He loves himself some Denard Robinson. Yep. I'll tell you that, man.
He was definitely exciting to watch.
I mean, who can run in shoes like that? That's what I want to. That's probably of all of his accomplishments, running in shoes like that has to be at the top of the list. I mean, it's insane.
You ever see one of those 22-year-olds doing the walk of shame the night after in 6-inch pumps and high heels? That's just as hard as walking in those, in those shoes.
I guess. Good point. So we had another thing that we wanted to talk about today was how the networks are killing sports. I mean, God. What is going on? I mean, there's no continuity anywhere, and you can open this up to TV and movies, and everybody's jockeying for, oh well, pay this subscription to watch this, and like the Paramount Plus and all that stuff, and you got to buy all these extra apps or subscriptions or whatever. It's crazy. And now sports is going crazy too. I mean, you should be able to turn on the TV and watch the Red Wings or the Tigers or whatever on, guess what, a local channel. You didn't even need cable TV. Now we're probably showing our age for, bashing cable TV, but now people, hey, it's come full circle. People are bashing cable TV and they're going all internet and all, and getting subscriptions to stuff. I mean, Rob, what do you think? Give us some examples, because I know this is one of the topics that gets it's like that it's like that slow degrade of something where you don't really notice it until something really triggers you. So I didn't even really care about like some of our local teams not being on the local networks, because I just never thought about it. Okay, I got cable, I have it here. And then finally last year, watching the coverage of NHL on NBC and NBC Sports was just so epic. It was just a great post and pre-game show. They had enough hockey on during the week that just kept you excited, titillating, if you will. And then once ESPN took it over this year, and Fred will probably agree 100%, they fucked it up. ESPN fucked it up. Well,
yeah. And I agree with what Rob's saying. And what Rob is really kind of alluding to is the fact that, we were excited that ESPN was going to, have hockey. Okay. We have ESPN1, ESPN2, but what we didn't realize, they were going to put it on ESPN Plus, and you have to subscribe to ESPN Plus to watch the hockey games. So to make it even, and not even to make it worse, now Bally Sports is in a contract dispute with, like, say, YouTube TV. So now Bally Sports isn't on there. So the only way that you can watch the Pistons, the Red Wings, and the Tigers is by having Xfinity. And that's the only way, unless you want to go out and get Dish. Well, who the hell wants Dish? I mean, that's like playing Sega Genesis right now. Okay. Okay. The simple thing is having to go out and spend money to get ESPN Plus so you can watch it. Now, in my case, which bothers me is I have Xfinity, I have Apple, I have YouTube TV as well. But the thing is I have the center ice package for the NHL. The thing is if the game's on ESPN Plus and I have the center ice, everything should be available for me to watch. But no, if it's your local team, it's blocked. So that means you have to go out and spend even more money. So your cable bill even becomes even higher. So the thing is all I want to do is be able, and that's the thing. I think ESPN has something doing where they got something where they're holding back where YouTube TV can't have Bally Sports, because they basically monopolized it.
They want to monopolize, funnel it
to them only. And it's so irritating. I mean, I get the Paramount Plus and Paramount. Why? You don't need to do that. And it's so frustrating, because the fact is, we have been so spoiled as a state. Well, not so much with the Lions, but, and the Pistons. But the fact is having the Red Wings and the Tigers, I know they're in a rebuild, but you see things that are starting to move up. and you come home and you're so excited, and you got the Red Wings playing the Blackhawks. You turn the TV on, it's on ESPN Plus. You can't watch it. Irritating to no end.
Yeah,
Not to mention, and not even to mention the fact that Xfinity's streaming app is absolutely horrible.
yeah,
It's a
the worst.
beta version. It freezes. I have a beautiful 65-inch 4K TV, and it looks like I'm watching TV at Rob's grandma's house. I'm in black and white watching the Kings and the Red Wings at 11 o'clock at night on channel 50.
Rabbit ears.
Oh yeah, it's like
Hockey Night
hey,
in Canada.
Rob,
Or
go to
Channel
the
50.
Rob, go to the kitchen and get some tinfoil.
Do they
It's-
even
it's-
have Hockey Night in Canada anymore? I mean, is that
they
a thing?
do? They
no,
do, but
no more Don Cherry.
yeah,
Well,
no
yeah.
more Don Cherry.
We know that.
Which again, if anybody would take a leap of faith, if they're willing to bring back some of these other guys, why not bring Don Cherry back to ESPN Plus or TBS? I mean, TBS is has Rob Bessonette and Rick Tocchet, and sometimes Wayne Gretzky's on there. But the fact is and also but Rob and I were disappointed. We don't have is it
Jones and Sharpie.
Jones and Sharp, and they also would have Mike Babcock on there once in a while. But I know he's coaching at a college in Canada. But the fact is
He's coaching the junior flags this year.
Yeah, right. He's actually in the Silver Sticks right now.
I was just going to say that you beat me to it.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's so irritating. It's so irritating because obviously we can get the Lions because they're on national television, but the other three, we were so spoiled being able to watch every game, and now Bally Sports bought obviously what Fox Sports, and now it's one of those things like, okay, if you do that, it's not going to be on YouTube TV. It's only going to be on Xfinity, and it's their way of hamstringing or holding people hostage, because some of the reasons why people have Xfinity is just for that.
Yeah, Mike, we've kind of dominated this with just NHL because it's like so. Fred and I are big hockey fans, and it was just so in our face this year. But I know you feel the same way. I mean, what has it impacted you watching your favorites?
Well, I don't think it's not for me. It's not just sports. I think just
everything.
It's entertainment in general. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, we have Netflix. I mean, this is personally what we have. Netflix. We have Amazon Prime, because who wants to go shopping, right? So you can watch stuff on Amazon. We've got Hulu. We've got Xfinity with HBO and all this stuff. And guess what? I'm still flipping through channels trying to find something to watch. It's ridiculous.
Disney Plus.
Right. Disney Plus and all this stuff. It's ridiculous.
I got Netflix, YouTube TV, Amazon Prime, Hulu, ESPN Plus. And the point is, I wanted to get away from cable a couple of years ago. So I because of the bill, and now you add everything up plus the Wi-Fi, you're back at the same position.
Exactly.
They got you. No matter what you do, they
got you.
Because if you think of the cost of cable and everything, it's almost the same cost as a car payment now. And it's absolutely ridiculous. My cable bill right now is $174 a month.
Yeah,
listen, when I was like in my 30s, I remember my dad was saying to me, like, really good job. I was working first real good job. I was working. So you saving money? And I'm like, well, it's kind of hard. And he's like, well, what, and this was like probably 1999, 96, something like that. I'm like, well, my cable bill's $120. That was Nan's mortgage payment on the house on Catholic Point.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
But who are the
paying $200?
Who are the idiots? We're the
three of us.
I mean,
the three of us.
When it
it's
comes
in the
to
title. Mike, look at the title.
Oh, that's right. True. So when it comes to like entertainment, like we're consumers just like everybody else. It's crazy. It's just so how we're going to stop it. yeah, we're trapped. Like you can't get enough people in the United States to even go in one direction. How would we ever change this? I mean,
Well, we got too many lemmings in this country. That's, I mean, they're leading the
That's a
sheep.
word from the past.
Yeah, leading the sheep to the slaughter.
yeah,
I think
crazy.
the problem is if, let's say, if I was a CEO or a chairman, God forbid, for let's say for Xfinity, if I wanted my company to take over, I would create packages where the customer actually gets to pick what channels they want
Bingo.
only.
Yep.
And I will tell you right now, if you could do that, you could say goodbye to Dish and any of the AT&T, any of those people that have any kind of cable, because if you can have 100 stations and you get to pick them, that means you don't have to have CNN. You don't have to have Fox.
I mean, give me 10. I need 10 stations maximum.
I'll tell you right now.
9
I'll
or
tell
10.
you right now,
That's all I watch.
YouTube TV has everything that I want to watch, except Bally Sports.
Bally Sport. Yep.
And the thing is I would love to have the hockey package, but I'll tell you right now, I think because of the fact that it's really killed the ESPN Plus has kind of killed it. It's almost stupid to have the center ice package. So the chances of me
hate ESPN.
Well, I understand it. I
used to love it.
Well, yeah, but again, we're not going to get into the political aspect of the left side taking over everything. It's
not that. It's like
just stupid. They focus on everything that we don't want to focus in on. And it's almost news related where, it's about why didn't this coach get a job and all that stuff. But that's a whole different topic. But we're, staying on point is the fact that what we pay for cable, and if you're going to charge us that amount, the consumer should have the ability to pick what channels that they want. And if they did, they would dominate. They would dominate that industry.
Who's watching the NBA to get this kind of coverage on these networks? I swear, the Housewives of Orange County rate better. Their ratings are better than the NBA. Yeah. You watch an NBA game, they show the stands. There's nobody in them anymore.
Yeah. Except the players' posses and their parole officers.
Oh,
well, it's true, but I mean, like even college basketball numbers, if you look, have slipped. But what saves them is right at the end in March, right? Because it's one of the most watched venues in sports. But basketball is really starting to narrow down, and of course, you can't compete with football. Right now, football is like king. Football is the king, and they moved Monday Night Football to ESPN. So if you had let's say you're talking about some kid that is a football player and he's growing up and he has aspirations playing football, college, maybe pro, and his parents don't have cable, he can't even watch Monday Night Football.
Yeah, that's
well, trust me, the college is going to throw them a little some. Hey, we're going to throw a satellite dish in so you can watch your kid play.
Well, once he gets to that level, I'm talking about youth.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the youth.
Yeah,
the 8, 9-year-old, 10-year-old Fred.
Right, I got you.
Yeah, it's I mean, Fred's right. If you had a option that you could pick, honestly, I could pick 10 channels, and I would pay like $100 a month for those 10 channels and internet. I mean, somebody comes out with that, hey, maybe we should come out with that. Like,
well, yeah, Circle, I hate the fact when someone goes, hey,
cable company or something. I
got 2,000 channels. Well, I don't need 6 channel 2s and 4s and 7s and ESPNs and HBO. If you have HBO, which is another whole story. But the thing is you guys are right. And we all agree is we would agree to pay a certain amount of money. I think they should have brackets where, you pay a certain amount of money of, like $50 for 100 channels, 100 for, 150, and then kind of go from there. If you want the maximum one, $200 and have unlimited, fine. But you guess what? I don't need some, Spanish channel watching, Telemundo. You know, I don't
Wait a
need
minute. The
Hold
chicks are freaking hot.
That
on
is
Telemundo.
true. That is
Hold
true.
I
on.
watched that. Listen, I agree with everything Fred said, except don't get rid of. If you're
Yeah.
a cable guy out there watching this, don't get rid of Telemundo. No.
Yeah.
And anything
I
else,
don't think they're watching.
get rid of Oprah Network, all that stuff, but not Telemundo.
Yes.
That's
Enough of
awesome.
C-SPAN.
So like you have Netflix and Amazon and Hulu has these series. Another thing that's irritating. Well, it's my own doing. I'm sure everybody's in the same boat. Like you wait 2 years for a series to come out and you binge it in one night. You know, it's a cloud
good
of
segue, Mike. Good
it's
segue.
a cloud of popcorn dust. It's 12 beers on the table. And we watch the ending and we're like, what the hell just happened?
Right.
Now we got to wait another 2 years. So this is my segue to Ozark. Let's talk about Ozark that we just all binged. Epic, right?
I did it in a night.
It took me a couple nights because I had to wait for Tammy to, we were watching it together, and then I would go ahead like 5 episodes and then go back and watch them again with her. But,
Yeah.
But let's talk about that. I mean, it's like, how long are we gonna have to wait for the? Oh, by the way,
but Rob, it was COVID.
Yeah, Rob says that was the worst ending of a series ever, and I was like, Rob, there's a second part.
I'm so happy.
Second part.
Well, I read that text. I was like, oh, thank God.
Why do they do that? They copied off of Game of Thrones. Let's take the last season and let's split it into 2 and call it part 1 and part 2. Just call it season 4 and 5. I mean, are we that stupid that we have to tell people there's a part 1 and a part 2? But thank God there is, because it was all right. Thoughts on Ozark, because we're all big Ozark fans. We're Yellowstone fans. We watched all the episodes. At least Yellowstone, that still comes out once a week though, right? So we have to wait for it. But like Ozark, you can just binge it.
Right.
And now what? It's like we left the cupboards bare again. Now what do we watch?
Well, I will tell you, as far as Ozark concerned, I tried watching it early when it first came out, and I just couldn't get into it, and I stepped away from it. And then I hear all these people talking about, so I went back to it. And as soon as I got through like the first 2 episodes, I was done. And at that time when it was out, it was when I wasn't working. I was looking for work. And I just went right through it, and I was like, man, this phenomenal show. And it, a lot of intrigue, a lot of suspense. You're sitting on the edge of your chair, your feet and hands start sweating because you're like, no, don't do it. But the thing is like these last 7 episodes, it's going to be very intriguing if they're going to have another 7 or they're going to have another 10. Nobody knows what they're going to have, but the fact is how long are we going to have to wait? Is it going to be one of these things like, do you remember a few years ago when Channel 7 had some series come out and then they put a hold on it and they were putting, old episodes of different shows, and then the shows lost their thunder and then they were canceled? See, you don't have to worry about that from Ozark, but for God's sakes, you're sitting, it's like, you're almost like a drug addict, and you're waiting to get your fix, and you're going through withdrawals because you're waiting for the next 7 to 10 shows to come out. But I the thing is then whatever happens next, I hope it ends better than Sopranos ended.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, you know what Ozark did for me, or did to me? I can't tell you how to write, produce, and what great acting, to write or direct somebody. But I certainly know it when I see it. And when I started watching Ozark, it was so compelling. It was so well written, produced. The acting was so good, kept me on my seat, at the edge of my seat all the way through. And I had things to do and I didn't want to stop. I wanted to watch that next episode. And there's been others like that before, but then I stopped watching about 4 different things after Ozark because it made me realize how bad those other shows were, how poorly written, how poorly produced, how crappy the acting was. Mm-hmm. So it took me to a new level. I know we're all big fans of Ozark, And we've been agreeing this whole episode. And I assure you, if there's anybody ever going to listen to the show, it won't always be like this. But I think we need to get the cocktail hour for Fred before, so that we can have more livelier show.
Yeah, we definitely need some cocktails.
But I mean, you even identified, Mike, you even told me, you said, listen, why? And I don't know if it was because of watching Ozark, but you kind of identified you didn't like some of the acting in Yellowstone.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Ozark is one of the best TV shows I've ever seen as far as acting and suspenseful.
I totally agree.
It keeps you on the edge of your seat. I mean, I watched that Making a Murderer documentary. I watched that in one day because it was the same thing. I literally I caught myself literally physically on the edge of my seat, leaning into the TV and like looking down. What the hell am I doing? Is that intense? And for Jason Bateman is one of my favorites, man. He's got such a wide range as an actor. It's crazy. I just Yellowstone, yeah, that's one of them that, I love the show, don't get me wrong, but comparing the two, yeah, you can definitely see a difference. But to your point, like Sons of Anarchy, I tried to watch that series. You guys ever watch that, Sons of Anarchy?
No.
I watched the first two and I couldn't watch it anymore.
Everybody told me how great it was, and you got to watch this. And I think I made it through 3 or 4 episodes because this is really giving.
Well, I'm in 2 seasons, but
2 seasons. I think I watched like 4 episodes. Like the acting was so bad.
Well, again, we're talking about a show that actually started on regular TV. I think there's a difference between regular TV production compared to a Netflix series production.
Yeah,
I think you get a different. I think you get a different feel. I mean, when you're in a crunch time to be able to do where you got to do episodes that are going to be on weekly, whereas they probably produce those last 7 episodes of Ozark over a few months, and we're able to break them up as far as episode 1 through 7, whereas you get you got all these different actors, like you got Kevin Costner, and you got Cole Hauser, who plays Rip Wheeler, and you get some of these other guys, like Luke Grimes, who plays one of John Dutton's or Kevin Costner's kids. You're talking about people that, I mean, Costner, big name. Cole Hauser, he's always been one of those behind the scene type guys that's been in a lot of movies, but did a nice job. Luke Grimes, he was in American Sniper. But then you look at like Jason Bateman and Laura Linney, and and then you find a gem of an actress who plays Ruth.
Oh,
God, she rocks it.
And the thing is there's a lot of compelling stuff. Like I just binge watched Daredevil. It's a Marvel. It's phenomenal. Okay. And the thing is I hate the fact that when you see some of these shows and they end and they don't get an ending, because the reason why they didn't get an ending was because, again, back to our subject that we just talked about, Disney Plus bought Marvel. They didn't allow them to continue to do another season. There was such an uproar over it. Now you're seeing that they're actually going to have another 4th season of it with hopefully the same actors, including Vincent D'Onofrio to play the Kingpin, who's just played an ex. He's just an excellent actor. And if you guys don't know who he is, he's been in Law and Order, and he was also the guy that kills the sergeant in Full Metal Jacket.
Oh yeah, he's
and offs himself.
Snowflake or whatever, Sergeant Snowflake or Corporal, whatever, isn't it? Private Snowflake or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Yeah. I tried to watch Daredevil. I couldn't get into it, honestly. I mean, I like most of the Marvel stuff, but I just couldn't get into Daredevil. I probably watched, I don't know, half of the first series or season or whatever, but yeah.
I know what you're going through, because I tried, the first couple episodes of WandaVision.
Oh God, come on.
It was like, oh my God. I mean, it was awful, but our buddy Kevin, who we're all friends with, he told me to stick with it. I'm glad I did, because it ended up actually being pretty good. But the thing is, and again, Ozark started out slow. Yellowstone started out slow, and if you could just get over the hump, you're hooked.
Yeah, you got to hook me at the beginning, though.
Mhm.
I don't give I don't give it a lot of chances. Maybe I have
Mhm.
when it comes to entertainment, I have a little bit of ADD. I got to move on to the next thing if it's not
Yep.
catching me.
Yep.
But
Squirrel.
squirrel exactly. Well, it's getting close to game time, so we probably should wrap this episode up. Um, this is our first episode. We're hoping that people will watch it. If they don't, they don't. This is more for us to have a chance to talk on some things and kind of hash through some things. I agree. We probably should have some beers and maybe other stuff to get the creative the creative debate juices flowing. That sounds disgusting, but so any final
It makes it
thoughts?
moist, real moist.
Ooh, God, I
Ooh.
hate that word.
God.
He knows I hate that word. Everybody knows I hate that word. Any final thoughts from the team before we sign off and get ready for? I think I think he wants the Rams to win. I don't know.
As you can see, I have my home and away jerseys, and then I got my jersey on here. Yep, nothing. Go Rams. Matthew Stafford. I hope he gets to the Super Bowl so he can stick 2 middle fingers up in Detroit Lions organization in their face. And the fact is it would be a great story for him to be able to do it. And as far as for being selfish, all three of us, to see the Rams and the Chiefs would be a lot better than seeing the 49ers and the Bengals.
Well, I want Rams and
bungholes.
Bengals. I want Rams and Bengals. That's
I
what
do
I'm
too, because I think it's a better chance for Matthew to win. But listen, I listened to Rieger yesterday, Fred, a little bit. Just it was on when I turned on the car, and now he's backtracking. And for all those anybody out there, all those out
both
there.
of our
Jeff,
family and friends that might watch.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Gage, I'll Gage if you ever watch this one day. Rieger is a really a no talent sports
he's a mosquito
guy.
in your ear.
Yeah, and the local 97 won the ticket, and everybody on that program was always anti-Stafford, which turned me into a Stafford guy when I moved back here, because I'm like, wait a minute, this team has got 70 years of losing football and they're trying to blame it on one guy. And Rieger now is backtracking, saying, well, it's not Stafford I don't like. I don't like the fans who have been so supportive of him all these years. I'm like, are you kidding me? The guy has done nothing but good all his life. Even when he throws interceptions, he's still good. He's a good person. He tries hard. He's tough. And for the people to say, it was all his fault why the Lions were bad. It's just ludicrous. That's why I'm a Stafford fan. That's why I want the Rams to win.
So let's hope that they win today. So the next episode we can put a thumb in the nose for everybody in the Detroit Lions organization, and maybe a couple middle fingers way up high. I'd love to see him go to the Super Bowl. I mean, for the Lions to get rid of him was just probably one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen any team make. I mean, it's just crazy. We've got Goff now, Jared Goff. I can't.
The only thing I can say about that, was it a bad move? Probably not. It was probably a good move for both people, because I could have seen Matthew Stafford pulling a Calvin Johnson or a Barry Sanders. And
I don't know if he's that type of guy.
Well, you could see that it was getting to that point where
12 years of epitome of suck.
Yeah, the epitome of suck. Thank you for using my line. So I think the biggest thing moving forward, for us, if we get through and they win today, I mean, it's going to be tough beating the 49ers. That defense is pretty stellar. But if they can get by them, I mean, they've lost the last 6 times that they've played. Jimmy Garoppolo is 5-0 against the Rams. I think it might be time and who knows?
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, there's a chance. But let's just say this. I mean, what I'm going to be interested in when you go to SoFi Stadium and they show the screen, they're calling for a red out. And if there's a lot more red, I will be honest with you. Is it really necessary to have two teams there? Because Ellie doesn't give a crap about either one of those teams. There is more Raider fans in Los Angeles than there is Rams or Chargers, and Chargers will never be really accepted there. I think they should go back to San Diego.
They have cool uniforms, so I like their uniforms and color scheme and all that stuff. So, well, I think we should wrap it up, guys, so we can get our game faces on and get ready to watch the playoffs. So
we need bumper music, Mike.
I know I need to come up with something that's not copyrighted. Maybe I'll just have to throw a couple riffs together and, have some intro and outro stuff. But yeah, definitely. So, and I think we got to get Fred to drink more beer during the episode.
Oh, absolutely.
So maybe this has to be.
Why is it always just me?
Because you're the
why,
ultimate
Fred?
drinker.
Because after the conversation,
wow, you make me sound like I'm like some kind of elky that's you picked up on Skid Row down
it
on
was
Sunset Strip.
Our portal conversation was so good at Warwater. And if you could have heard yourself, it was so funny. Like every 10 minutes you just shout out CMU.
Central Michigan.
We're like, what is he talking about? CMU. Like we say Power 5, a CMU. It was like we didn't know what you were talking about. And then what we said in the beginning of it spread the wealth. You argued the whole time and then came back at the end and said, well, yeah, it will spread the wealth throughout college football.
Well, guess what? If I wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't be doing this podcast right now.
That's a good point. Oh, it's a good point.
Yep.
Yeah.
So boys, hey, like I said, what a great first episode for the Idiot Circle. We got Mike Ward, we got Rob Straits, and I'm Fred Windsor. And hey, if you really like what we talk about, hey, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and even better yet, throw us a message and give us some things you'd like us to discuss. And on that note, boys, great talking to you. And for our next episode, I'm really going to be excited to see what we come up with. So from the
number 9.
So from Idiot Circle, Fred says goodbye.
Peace out, guys.
Cheers.